Key figures from the ruling Saenuri Party say President-elect Park Geun-hye needs to formulate an exit strategy from some of her ambitious election pledges. They say Park needs to think more realistically about ways to carry out her welfare agenda. Our Kim Yeon-ji has more.
Ruling party lawmaker Chung Mong-joon told a joint session of leading party figures Wednesday that President-elect Park's transition team should refrain from trying to fulfill all of Park's campaign pledges at once. The seven-term lawmaker says the team's efforts to follow through on Park's pledges were honorable, but stressed they must be realistic. To reinforce his point, Chung referred to Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, former White House Chief of Staff to President Barack Obama. In his book, Emanuel said that if President Obama were to implement all of his campaign pledges, the U.S. would go bankrupt. So what is the main source of concern? President-elect Park is determined to keep her word and push for her welfare pledges without raising taxes. She says the people voted for her based on that promise. However, her pledges include cutting delinquent borrowers' debts by up to 70%, providing free child care for children up to age 5, halving college tuition fees, and more. These pledges would require huge amounts of government funding. The ruling party Supreme Council member Kim Yeon-ji has urged Park to think of ways to water down her multi-billion-dollar pledges. The party's floor leader Lee Han-gu, known as Park's mentor for economic matters, was the first to express concern. Lee said in December that Park would need to rethink some of her pledges once she gets elected, sitting down with opposition lawmakers to modify them to reflect financial and other constraints. Ruling party lawmakers say pushing for Park's big welfare pledges amid the global and domestic economic slowdown could damage the nation's fiscal health. They argue Park must be realistic about the nation's prospects for growth over the next 5 years and come up with funding mechanisms to implement her pledges based on that. Kim Yeon-ji, Arirang News.